Judge, you got dry feet, don't lose your feet, take it out. Get a guy, yes!
Helmet-free tackle safety and performance training systems, advancing the science of tackling safety and performance since 1997. Honor and courage. We salute the United States Marines for the sacrifices they make daily to protect our freedom. And just as every Marine is a motivated rifleman prepared to defend our country when called, we strive to embody the Marine Corps' spirit of readiness of preparing each player to tackle properly when there's a sudden change of possession of the football due to a fumble or interception. Semper Fidelis, always faithful. Hi, I'm Coach Bobby Hosea, and welcome to my helmet-free tackle safety and performance training course. This course will be made up of me talking to you directly into the camera and on the field out here, and also be made up of a compilation of timeless, teachable moments captured on video at many of my tackle training camps and coaches clinics throughout the last 12 years. My goal for my helmet-free tackle safety and performance training course is that someday it be made the national standard of care for teaching tackling on every level of football competition. Until that day arrives, I hope you can use it as your standard of care for teaching your student athletes how to play the game safer and be a more effective tackler to be the best tackle football player they can possibly be. The problem. Their future is in our hands. Our future is in theirs. Each year, there are more than 448,000 reported football-related injuries to youth under the age of 15, totaling more than $6.89 billion in medical, legal, and liability costs.
A high school football player on Long Island, New York, has died after colliding with another player and then collapsing on the field during a game on Wednesday. Doctors say the 17-year-old suffered a head injury and was rushed into surgery, but he died a short time later. According to ESPN, he is the third high school football player in the United States to die.
Seattle high school football player dies from game injury. A 17-year-old high school football player died on Monday morning in Washington State from injuries suffered during a football game, making him the fourth high school football player in the U.S. to die in the last month due to injuries sustained on a football field. Kenny Bowie was a senior defensive back and wide receiver for Evergreen High School in Seattle. He was injured while making a tackle in the fourth quarter of last Friday night's game against Highline High School at Highline Memorial Field. Bowie suffered traumatic brain injury from the tackle, and paramedics rushed him to the Harborview Medical Center. He underwent surgery, but died late Monday morning. Bowie's family requested privacy. Classmates brought balloons and flowers to a makeshift memorial at the school's campus.
So the numbers are shocking. A seventh high school football player dying after playing in a game.
Last year, 5 high school students died of football-related injuries. That's a number we've already passed. 7th high school player to die just 7 weeks into the football season, raising concerns over the safety of the sport. One weekend earlier, Texas junior Cameron Matthews collapsed on the sidelines, his death attributed to a brain aneurysm. In September, star quarterback Evan Murray died after taking multiple hard hits on a New Jersey football field. But the top concern for parents continues to be concussion.
Andre Smith is the 7th high school football player nationwide to die this year, and every death rekindles a debate about whether the sport, played by 1 million American high school kids, is worth the cost. Dean Reynolds, CBS News, Chicago.
Since 2013, 23 high school football players have died of traumatic brain injuries.
We're in the Blue Room of the White House. Mr. President, very kind of you to take the time. Thank you very much.
Great to be with you.
There has been concern about the safety of football at all levels, high school, college, and in the NFL. If you had a son, would you let him play?
Well, as I said before, I'd have to think about it. You know, it's hard to say no to a kid when they've got a passion for something. And I've got daughters. They don't have a passion for football. It is a great sport. I am a huge fan. But there is no doubt that some of the concerns that we've learned about when it comes to concussions have to give parents pause. And as I said before, I feel differently about the NFL. These are grown men. They're well compensated. They know the risks that are involved. But as we start thinking about the pipeline, Pop Warner, high school, college, I want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make the sport safer, and that means that the game's probably going to evolve a little bit. And for those of us who like to see a big hit and enjoy the rock'em sock'em elements of the game, we're probably going to be occasionally frustrated. I know defensive players in the NFL get frustrated now because some of the changes of the rules, but I do think that we want to make sure that after people have played the game, that they're going to be okay. But these are serious issues, and especially for younger kids, as well as college players who don't make a big salary playing the sport. We want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to keep them safe.
The recent spate of stories about young football players losing their lives or being paralyzed while playing tackle football are tragic and sad, and are very stark reminders that changes, very dramatic changes, are needed. Since most traumatic brain, neck, and spinal cord injuries are the result of players initiating contact with the crown of their helmet while in the act of making a tackle, the key ingredient missing is a standard of care for teaching tackling. Standard of care is a legal term which means you have done your due diligence to minimize what is most dangerous about any activity. There are actual instructions that are inherently dangerous in the very DNA of the game since its inception, and most coaches don't even know it. The more things change, the more they stay the same. And in tackle football, the most dangerous aspect of the sport is making a tackle, but it can be made less dangerous if coaches knew how to readily identify, eliminate, and replace the physical mechanisms, the tackling terminology, the tackling drills, and tackling techniques that lead directly to crown first impact or helmet exposure to contact while a defender is in the act of making a tackle. In 1997, while my son was playing his first year of tackle football, I was no different than any other parent. I was deathly afraid of my son getting hurt to the point where he couldn't get up off the ground. So I created a tackling technique called the Dip and Rip Sticks Words to Play By 12-Step Tackle Progression. It is now known as the Hosea Method and trademarked as the Helmet Free Tackle Training System. In 2011, LA84 Foundation, one of the largest funders of youth sports in California, commissioned a scientific research study to determine if the Hosea Method was effective at lowering head impact while defenders were in the act of making a tackle. The result of that Phase 1 study showed that the Hosea Method removed 100% of the crown from the tackle when compared to the traditional tackling technique that registered all the impacts to the crown of the head. Clearly, tackle football is at a crossroads, and concussion is the primary reason for that crossroads. If we don't get concussions under control, the game of football is going to go away. Here's my system of training that I think can be used as your personal standard of care for teaching tackle football. Their future is in our hands. Our future is in theirs.
Up next, the solution.